Time now for our business update, and Brian Quinn joins me in the studio. Good morning, Brian. We're starting in the UK, where Prime Minister Theresa May is under increasing pressure over those Brexit negotiations.
That's right. The slow pace of those negotiations has plenty of British observers rather worried. May is expected to use a speech to the UK House of Commons Monday to tell the 27 remaining members of the EU that it's up to them to make the next move, as progress has stalled ahead of a fifth round of talks in Brussels this week. She's expected to give an optimistic prognosis for those negotiations, even while members of her own cabinet have said that plans by the UK are, quote, well underway to leave the EU without a deal in place. Business leaders in particular are sounding the alarm. The chairman of the Royal Bank of Scotland warned on Sunday that Brexit could lead to significant job losses in the UK. Let's take a listen here.
Up to now, people have centred their European activities, and we're talking particularly about the American banks, the Japanese banks, even the Chinese banks, and they have chosen to put the enormous lion's share of their activity in Europe based in London. And they're now rebalancing. It'll definitely be a cost. And the question is, can we negotiate enough market access so that that cost is at the margin, is a few thousand people, not tens of thousands?
Yeah. Turning now to the United States, with a major upheaval in the entertainment industry, a titan of Tinseltown getting the boot.
That's right. Harvey Weinstein is out at the production company he co-founded. The Hollywood heavyweight producer, famous as much for his bulldozing personality as for hits like Pulp Fiction and Shakespeare in Love, has been rocked by accusations of sexual harassment by female stars and former employees alike. Alex Jennings reports.
Harvey Weinstein, one of Hollywood's most powerful producers, has been ousted from his own production firm, the Weinstein Company, following reports of sexual harassment allegations against him. A report published by the New York Times last week said the producer sexually harassed women, including actresses Rose McGowan and Ashley Judd, over 3 decades, and had made 8 settlements with women who had accused him of unwanted physical contact. In a statement released by Weinstein's former attorney, Lisa Bloom, who resigned over the weekend amongst the backlash, the producer denied many of the claims made against him as patently false. He also published a public apology in which he said that he grew up in a time when behaviour in the workplace was different, before going on to say,
"I appreciate the way I behaved with colleagues in the past has caused a lot of pain, and I sincerely apologise for it."
So now I am going to... US President Donald Trump said the news didn't come as a shock.
I've known Harvey Weinstein for a long time. I'm not at all surprised to see it.
The movie mogul is behind the successes of films including Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love and The King's Speech. Alongside his brother Bob Weinstein, he turned independent cinema into a thriving global business, selling their company Miramax to Walt Disney for $60 million in 1993 and founding the Weinstein Company in 2005. Backed by $1 billion raised by Goldman Sachs. The reports against him prompted the resignations of 3 of the Weinstein Company's directors. The company has said it is now conducting its own internal investigation.
All right, Brian, let's check in on the markets. How are they looking this morning?
Asian index is mixed Monday as Chinese markets reopen after a long public holiday last week. The mainland's Shanghai Composite shrugging off new evidence of slowing growth in China's services sector. It's up over 0.5%. Hang Seng in Hong Kong headed the other direction. It's off around 0.5% that way. The Nikkei in Tokyo and the Kospi in Seoul both closed for holidays today. European index is opening mixed as well as investors keep an eye on those Brexit talks and a meeting of EU finance ministers in Luxembourg today. London's FTSE 100 down 0.1%. CAC 40 here in Paris up 0.1%. Frankfurt DAX up 0.3%. Let's take a look at some more of today's top business headlines. Abertis is considering leaving Catalonia. The board of the Spanish highway building infrastructure firm is meeting Monday to discuss a move as Catalonia's parliament considers declaring independence from Spain. If it leaves, it would follow banks like Sabadell and CaixaBank, who have decided to relocate due to instability in the region. The U.S. has raised the level of proposed trade duties on Bombardier C-Series jets, adding an 80% anti-dumping tariff in addition to the nearly 220% duty for subsidies previously announced. The move comes after a complaint from U.S. plane maker Boeing that Canada's Bombardier was selling its jets in the U.S. below cost. The duties would heighten trade tensions between the U.S., Canada, and Britain, where the jet's wings are made. And Airbnb paid less than £200,000 in UK corporate tax last year. The home-sharing site collected more than £650 million in rental payments, but commissions are booked through a subsidiary in Ireland, where taxes are much lower. The tax strategies of tech giants have come under increased scrutiny in the EU. Airbnb says it follows the rules and pays what it owes.
And finally, for business, golfing can be an expensive hobby, and it looks especially so for US President Donald Trump.
That's right. Trump's Scottish golf resorts have been racking up losses as a fall in the price of North Sea oil has taken a bite out of their popularity with local linksmen. Trump International Golf Links in Aberdeenshire lost over £1.5 million in 2016, leading Trump to send interest-free loans of nearly £41 million during his presidential campaign last year. His Turnberry Resort in Ayrshire, purchased in 2014, has also suffered big losses. In all, his Scottish golf courses owe the larger Trump organization £153 million. American taxpayers may know that feeling. One estimate puts the cost of Trump's weekend visits to his golf resorts in Florida and New Jersey at roughly $33 million taxpayer dollars. As long as he's having a good time. That's what's important, I think.
It's quite a hefty bill, though, isn't it, Brian?
That's what, yeah, he's heavy. He's a man. He's got to relax.
Okay. Yes, indeed. Brian, thank you very much for that. Brian Quinn there with the Business Roundup.